Hello, everyone on Patreon. Thank you so much for your ongoing support and for voting this month on a Neo-Noir or not. The winner this month is MULHOLLAND Drive, which was released in 2001. This was directed and written by David Lynch. It starred Naomi Watts, Laura Harring, and Justin Theroux. For those of you who have not seen the film, I will just read out a brief synopsis. After a car wreck on the winding Mulholland Drive renders a woman amnesiac, she and a perky Hollywood hopeful search for clues and answers across Los Angeles in a twisting venture beyond dreams and reality. So, is this a neo-noir or not? I would have never thought of this as a neo-noir. I got the idea from Eddie Muller, who I recently interviewed on my YouTube channel. For those of you who haven't seen it, I will leave the link in the description box below. And he, of course, is one of the TCM hosts. He hosts Noir Alley. He's one of the leading film noir scholars. And he mentioned this as a neo-noir. And I thought, that's a really interesting perspective. I never thought of it as one. So I put it on the poll. I've never really been a big Lynch fan, and I've seen this before. I didn't really take to it, but I must say, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, but just in terms of whether it is a neo-noir or not, I would say, yeah, it certainly is for the reasons that Eddie pointed out. I mean, here's a Hollywood hopeful whom Naomi Watts plays, goes to Los Angeles, falls in love with this woman, who then betrays her, leaves her, and she hires a hitman to kill her, and then she blows her own brains. She blows her brains out. She commits suicide. I mean, that's pretty dark. The obvious inspiration, of course, is Sunset Boulevard, which is a classic film noir. I mean, that's one of those films that some of the purists dispute as film noir, but I would say it certainly is a film noir. But it really has the feel of Sunset Boulevard, and of course, apart from the obvious, instead of Sunset Boulevard, we have Mulholland Drive. It's Hollywood, it's show business. There's crime subplot, crime and crime aspects to both stories, but the stories are totally different. But what is similar is that sense of humor. He must have got that also from Wilder, Billy Wilder, who directed Sunset Boulevard, I imagine, because this film has this dark sense of humor about it, and I did find myself laughing at times. So Lynch was able to find that balance quite well, but only in a very David Lynch way. This is why we have this term now, Lynchian. There's just nothing like this guy's movies. And so for me, one thing I've learned from doing these neo-noir or not videos is that neo-noir, which started to begin in the 60s, once the classic film period ending, they either were pushing the envelope in terms of censorship, because now, particularly in the 70s and 80s, 90s and forward, they were able to not worry about censorship. And so when all those things that you saw in the classic film noir period, where they coded the sexual innuendos and sexual relationships, where things were coded and suggested, that you could do whatever you want later on, like we saw in Body Heat, for example. So we either had those kind of neo-noirs, or we had like having a similar themes from the classic period, but then a combination of different genres, whether it's horror or sci-fi, and in this case, surrealism. And I have my own takes on what this film may be all about, but I'll save that for a review. But we certainly have enough themes in here and in terms of its feel to qualify it as a neo-noir. For, like I said, we have betrayal, we have apathy, we have Hollywood people sort of who live in different worlds that we don't really see, beneath the shadows, who are actually in this fictionalized version of Hollywood, really truly running things. And like we see with Justin Theroux's character, who doesn't want to cast this woman, and he's forced to cast this woman, and they will destroy him in order to get what they want. And so we see people behaving at their worst, and then this love story seems to be the best thing happening between Laura Harring and Naomi Watts. And of course, even that goes wrong, and she is betrayed. Naomi Watts is treated like garbage. she's tossed aside, and that, of course, makes her so angry, so bitter, so hurt that she turns to violence, right? It's those people in a situation where she's not necessarily compromised, where she's put in a position where she may need or want to choose crime in order to survive or to get ahead. But in this case, it's her crimes come from pain and from being dumped and betrayed. And so it's very, very dark. And to me, it really is a neo-noir. So I'm so glad I put it on this poll this month. Thank you so much, everyone, for voting on it. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Is Naomi Watts, is Mulholland Drive a neo-noir or not? Let me know what you think. Thank you again for voting, and I will see you in the next one.